Hey out there, Tullahoma. Welcome to the next episode of the Tullahoma at Work podcast. We're here in studio today. I am your community engagement officer. I almost forgot what I was for a second there. Lyle Russell, it's a pleasure to have you in. And in studio with me today is our brand new Aquatics Coordinator at Tullahoma Parks and Recreation, Logan Massengale. How's it going, Logan?
It's going good. How are you?
Good, good. Welcome to the program. We're going to have a good show today. So, this program, as we talked about, it's just a fun thing to get to know some City of Tullahoma employees, and we put this out there for the citizens to get to know you. And you're in a position that is highly visible. A lot of people out here like to swim, but we're not going to talk about aquatics first. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
First thing, this is a question I ask all guests. You're at a friend's house. Everybody's hanging out, having a good time, and the freezer opens and something's good on TV. You say, hey, we're going to get some ice cream. And it's Neapolitan. Which flavor are you going to go for?
So, I'm actually on a diet. So the answer is none.
None. All right. Well, if the snack drawer opens, what are you going to go for?
Hopefully there's going to be some Quest cookies or something like that. Those are my favorite. That's my guilty pleasure. But hopefully there's something high proteins in the snack drawer.
All right. All right. So that's fair enough. Now, let's just say you weren't on a diet. Which flavor are you going for?
Vanilla, 100%.
Vanilla. Oh. All right, we're going to have to talk about a vanilla ice cream recipe for when you're not on a diet, because there is a really good one. So Have you ever had, before your diet, did you ever have vanilla ice cream, maple syrup, and bacon?
I can't say that I have.
Oh, when you're done, you got to try it. It is the best thing ever on the planet. So, but that's okay. That's fair enough. So no ice cream for you, but if there was, it'd be vanilla.
Well, hold on. There is some ice cream out there that I can have. It's pretty high protein.
Well, what is it?
It's called Halo Top. Halo Top and Yeso bars. That's my go-to. So yeah, I love ice cream, and cutting it out completely, I can't do it. So I have to find the replacements in there somewhere.
No, whatever ice cream you're not eating, I am. So don't feel bad about it. So that's the fun question. But the big question I like to ask everybody when we get started, I know that you are new in town, but tell us your Tullahoma story. Tell us how you got here. And then I know you just said you're now living here, which I know at first you weren't. So just kind of give us the basic rundown of your Tullahoma story.
So my Tullahoma story kind of starts, believe it or not, the middle of summer this year. So I was running a water park, and I got a call from the city, and they were looking for a new aquatic coordinator. And I was in the market to kind of branch out and kind of grow. So I got that call, and I was like, that sounds like a really good opportunity. So I make the drive up here, and I remember driving around the Air Force Base, and I was like, oh my gosh, where am I? At first, I had never heard of Tullahoma before I came up here. So anyways, I get here, I interview, and I fell in love with it kind of, it really kind of felt like home in a sense of what I'm familiar to. Mm-hmm. I came from Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia, so it's still kind of that small town type of vibe, right outside of a big town, Murfreesboro is just right up the road, it feels like. So anyways, I came, and lucky enough, I got the job. And it's been awesome, I really like Tullahoma, I enjoy it. I feel like North Jackson Street is where I spend 90% of my time when I'm not at DW. But yeah, I guess that's my Tullahoma story.
All right. And so you finally got settled here. You've moved into town or close to it?
Yeah. So I actually live in Tullahoma. I live pretty close to DW, so it works out.
That'd be a long drive every day from Chattanooga over to here.
And it definitely was. Every day around Monteagle, up it, down it, across it. It got to me after a little while, so I'm glad I made the move.
And you're, let's see, how long have you been here now? You've been here for 4 months, is it?
I joined in August.
August. Okay, so about 3 months or so.
3 months.
All right, so you're 90 days in. What's your favorite thing about it so far?
My favorite thing about it, I really like the indoor pool. Outdoor water park is what I was used to, and I figured Splash Island would be the thing that really captivated me here, but I really think it's been the indoor pool, and it might be some of the challenges that's come with the indoor pool that has kind of got me a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but the indoor pool it's been my baby, so to speak. Putting a lot of time, putting a lot of effort into it, so indoor pool, my answer.
Yeah, no, and that one's year round too. You're going to have to deal with that baby all the time. At least Splash Island gets a couple months off.
Exactly, so. Get a nice little break from it. The indoor pool I get to deal with it all year round, and that comes with the good and the bad. So
right. So now you said you came from a water park background before. So I happen to know it because I was in on some of your interviews. But tell folks who are out there. We got 20,000-ish Tullahomans out there who may be listening. So tell us about where you came from before you got here.
So before I got here, I'll kind of go into a little bit of a backstory with it. So in 2020, COVID hit. I was in high school or whatever, and I was looking for a job, and I saw that Lake Winnipesaukee, Sokia Water Park, was hiring lifeguards. So, I stepped in and I took the class. I became a lifeguard, and I lifeguarded that first year. And I remember we had to lifeguard around the lazy river with COVID masks on. We had to operate the slides, and 110 degree heat. It was something else. So I worked my way up, and I ended up taking over Sokia Water Park, and I ran it for 3 years. It was very interesting. I learned a lot. I learned what to do, what not to do. I learned how to lead, both through trial and error and through examples too. The lifeguards taught me a lot while I was there, believe it or not. And I think that's what made that place so special to me. I went there as a kid too, so I still have a little bit of nostalgia for it, but working there, it was definitely the lifeguards that kept me there. I ran that place from the ground up. I was the janitor, I was the security guard, I was the lifeguard sometimes.
Welcome to Parks and Recreation.
Yeah. So that's kind of the vibe here too. I see a piece of trash in the parking lot, I'm picking it up. So I know what it's like. It's the same thing where I was at. So
okay. So now let me just make sure I got the storyline right. So you were in high school, got a job as a lifeguard, and I'm from further south than all of y'all are. I'm from Florida. So, but I call it Winnipesaukee, and everybody says, no, that's not how you say it. So it is Lake Winnipesaukee is how you say it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll trust your judgment on that. So anyway, so now you work at Lake Winnie as a lifeguard. You're in high school. What was the What was the linchpin, the transition that got you from I'm an everyday lifeguard to now I'm suddenly in charge of this place? How did that happen?
The short answer is luck. I guess always in the right place at the right time. But in all seriousness, I really think it was my hard work. I started that first year as a lifeguard, and every year that I was there, so I was there for 6-7 years, unironically. So I was there around 6-7 years.
Okay.
And so I started out as a lifeguard, and then I moved up to a head guard, which was kind of like the team lead, so to speak.
Right.
So I was a team lead my second year. My third year, our maintenance guy got laid off or whatever. He had some stuff that he was dealing with. So I ended up stepping in, and I became the maintenance guy for the water park. After that, I was the assistant manager, and then I turned around and started running the water park. Under the table, I started there as a cabana boy, but really not a job because I wasn't actively listed as a job. But,
sure.
So I was a little bit younger at the time. But I started as a lifeguard. I worked my way up from a maintenance worker, from a head guard, all the way to the assistant manager, and finally becoming the manager of the water park. I was actually the youngest manager that place has ever had.
I can imagine, probably so. But the history of Lake Winnie, it's been there for a long time, right? So it's been around a bit.
Actually, it opened in 1925, so this is its
I figured having managed it, you'd know some of the history. So 1925, and so here we are, centennial year, and you found yourself at a young age being the manager. That had to be kind of surreal. It
was surreal to realize that not only had a business made it to 100 years, but I was part of the reason that helped it get to that 100-year mark. At 95 years or at 94 years is when I stepped in, and I got to see it turn 100. That was really special, and it kind of gave me a strong sense of my community that was there, to realize that community had not only supported me, but supported Lake Winnie for 100 years. It was very surreal.
Yeah, and so now you've come over here to Tullahoma Parks and Recreation. You're the Aquatics Coordinator over Splash Island, which everybody in Tullahoma loves. And then you have the indoor pool, which a very large component of Tullahoma loves. And I only know that because I work there also. You mentioned some challenges. So what are some of the challenges you found? And are these personal challenges to you or just challenges with the pool?
Just challenges with the pool, I guess. JP says something to me a lot that kind of stuck with me, and it's if a pool was profitable, there'd be one on every corner, right? So
I've heard that phrase once or twice.
There's a lot of truth in that statement. So from sometimes, just the pool deck, being dirty or whatever, having to clean it every day. Sometimes we have mechanical issues, and we faced one a couple weeks ago. We got it fixed, but it's just it's like pushing a rock up a mountain, so to speak, whenever you're running a pool. Yeah. So, and you have to, whenever you have lifeguards, it's kind of like herding cats, so to speak. So, so having a bunch of lifeguards, they make your hair turn gray. The pool itself makes your hair turn gray. So I'm sure I'm rivaling some of you guys out there. But
well, you got a little bit to catch up to me here, but it'll happen.
Just a little bit.
So yeah, having worked in that pool myself, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I know this was, from my experience, the few times that I had to oversee the lifeguard corps, one of the things that I found is you have this small army basically of teenagers. You do get a couple of adults in there too sometimes, but most of the majority is between 16 and 18. You're taking these teenagers, and I hear this a lot in the community, and it kind of makes me bristle up a little bit, but I'll get to that in a second. You have these younger folks, and a lot of people will look at them and say, well, they're just kids. But at the same time, in a lifeguard class that I attended personally one time, somebody told me that said, a lifeguard is technically a first responder, police, fire, EMS, and then you have lifeguards. And you think you thrust a 16-year-old kid into a situation where they're having to pull a person out of the pool and do CPR on them. What's that like when you're trying to talk to these lifeguards, these younger people? How do you think they take that? What have you seen?
So
that's a hard question. I know
that is a hard question.
Yeah.
But so the first thing I want to say that nobody really understands what it's like until you have to save someone, and until you have to pull someone out of the pool that has drowned, that's actively drowning. They've already drowned. Pulling them out of the pool, having to use an AED, having to do CPR. That's a life-changing experience, and I think that a lot of people don't understand that. I do think that every lifeguard at DW, I'm not just saying this just to say it, I genuinely believe this. I think that they would do it in a heartbeat. That's what they're trained to do. I feel like a lot of the people that want to be lifeguards, I think that they're brave individuals. It takes a lot. Some of these kids are mature in a sense that they can handle something like this whenever a lot of their peers cannot.
Right.
So, will you say the question again?
Yeah. Well, it's just basically, what has been your experience with putting a young person in that age into a position where now they're essentially a first responder? Do you think they live up to the challenge? I think they do too. That was my experience. I'll be honest, the day I walked into Parks and Rec, I don't know if I've ever told anybody else's story, but the day I walked into Parks and Recreation, I applied to be a lifeguard. And I was an adult. I had just finished my job out at AEDC, and I was willing to do it. I had some training through the Boy Scout lifeguard program. And so they didn't let me be a lifeguard. I don't know if they just thought I was too old or what. They said, no, you're not going to be a lifeguard. We're going to hire you for something else. And now here I am 10 years later. But it's hard to put into words, like you said, until you've experienced that, until you've had that opportunity to put yourself in that position. It's hard to put into words what it's like to be a lifeguard.
Exactly. I agree. And these kids, like I said, they're so mature and they're so brave to be able to step on that lifeguard stand and realize that every time that they're on that lifeguard stand, they have the lives of the public in their hands. Whether they look away for a split second and someone drowns, or when a freak accident happens, they're the first responder. They have a duty to act unlike anybody else in the rest of the pool. So
right.
It's difficult, but I think that through the lifeguard training, the in-services, and the things that I see in each lifeguard that we have at DW, I think that they're more than capable of it. I think they're prepared. And I think that the in-services, the trainings, all the motivational stuff that we get them hyped up for in our morning meetings, I think that drives them to do what they can on the lifeguard stand.
Oh, absolutely. And again, having been in those shoes myself, I fully understand what you're saying. I know that occasionally we will get folks at Splash Island say, well, your lifeguard's not paying attention. I promise you that they are. I promise you that they are.
They definitely are.
Yeah. And it's difficult. The amount of training that they go through, I think about myself at 16. No, that wasn't happening. I had a hard enough time keeping up with my homework. But, you get some of these teenagers that come in, not only are they doing their homework, they're parts of clubs, sports teams, school clubs, like DECA and things like that. They're doing their homework, they're doing extracurricular activities, and they're taking a lifeguard course that's, if I remember correctly, it's a 40-hour, in class, and then you also have the CPR, AED, basic first aid. So you're getting all of that training at an age where you're busy.
Yeah.
And so you went through this obviously personally. So how did that work out for you? How did you handle that?
So I got lucky with my lifeguard training. So like I said, I kind of took it during COVID year. So we didn't do ours until after I was out of school. So we did ours in June, and we did it at it's in downtown Chattanooga. It's close to the zoo. Warner Park, I think, is the name of the pool. And I remember we were split in 6 feet in pairs. So we were together, but then everybody else was 6 feet away from us. And it was something else. I mean, they have a really nice pool, really nice facility, and it's a very large pool.
Right.
But I don't think that it accommodated the 40 people that were in the class all having to be 6 feet apart.
Right.
So anyways, we would have to do, even though I wasn't in school, it was still draining. I mean, just the prerequisite in itself of swimming 300 yards, not a lot of people can do that.
Right.
Whenever I first went into it, I thought I was Michael Phelps. I quickly realized I wasn't, that I was just somebody that could swim above averagely. I remember I started out and I thought it was a race. And by my third lap, I was like, what have I done?
Yes.
I was like, am I going to pass this test? And during those 3 days, I couldn't do anything. I mean, I would go home, I would fall asleep. I remember driving home and I was like trying not to fall asleep on the drive home. I mean, it was brutal, but it helped change me into who I am today. It taught me some responsibility. It showed me that, I can do anything I put my mind to. And I'm sure that it gives a lot of these kids that same feeling. But like I really couldn't imagine having to juggle that with school. Whenever we did our recertification training, of course, I had to do that every 2 years. I still balanced school whenever I was doing that. So it wasn't bad, especially just considering it was 1 day. So, and we always do it on the weekend. So Friday, I might have to miss a football game or whatever, our spring games. But this is a sacrifice that you have to make when you're doing something that you enjoy doing.
Right. And so here in Tullahoma, I know at one point, I don't know if this statistic is still correct, but I was told that we, as the city of Tullahoma and Parks and Rec in particular, is one of the largest employers of high school age kids in one place. Because we have the lifeguard corps, which is anywhere from 60 to 100. We have the concession staff. We have some part-time staff in the center. So all of those folks work together in that group. And the lifeguard group in my time there was very close-knit. They had each other's backs. They helped each other. I mean, you always get the minor bickering in any team environment. You're going to get some storming. But it was year after year. These same guards were coming back and they just really enjoyed it. I mean, a lot of them said, yes, I need a job. But at the same time, that's a hard job.
It is. And I think it's the sense of community that goes through the training. I don't know if any of the listeners played sports in high school, but whenever one person would mess up, the whole team got in trouble.
Right.
And that's the sense of pride that comes in with being a lifeguard is if one lifeguard messes up, we all mess up. You got to practice like you play like you practice. And that's something that I strongly believe in. And every single training that we do, that's the guideline that I follow. So I think that just the sense of community just drives them to come back, and it just grows and grows and grows until eventually, it's some of these lifeguards' last day. And I'm seeing people cry, people take pictures together.
Yeah.
It's always heart touching, but at the same time, it's like, wow, we've really built something here.
Oh yeah.
I definitely agree with you saying that it's close knit. I think that's more than true.
Yeah. And I know you're only 90 days in, but I think you'll see, especially when Splash Island comes around next year, that lead up to opening day, you'll start to see that team come together. And that was always a big source of pride for me. I was more in the concession side than I was with the lifeguards, but same with concessions. You take basically this raw mound of clay and you turn them into, in some of my cases, I would see the kids that worked for me out in town working at other jobs later on. And some of them were kind enough to credit me for like, hey, I really appreciate you pushing me because now I'm doing this. And I'm sure in the lifeguard community that happens also. I think that's a neat thing to see.
It definitely is. It makes it worth it. The main thing that I get out of it, everybody has something that they get out of their job that makes them feel accomplished, that helps them in their path. And I think that being able to take somebody and help build them and let them follow the career path that they want to follow and setting them up for success, I think that that's the thing for me. I always love to see it, whether I'm going to get my hair cut and one of my lifeguards like, oh, I remember you were my manager.
Right, yeah.
And so, it's just always something special, just hearing them thank you for everything that you did for them and stuff like that. There's no words to describe that feeling.
Oh, yeah, that never gets old. Anytime I get that opportunity, that never gets old. I'll take it anytime. So, but now you mentioned something you have gone through all of this training yourself. And so you've been in their shoes, and now you're coming into a position where you're an aquatics guy, but you're in a facility that is not 100% aquatics. We have all these other programs. So in 90 days or so how has that been a challenge for you? How have you enjoyed kind of broadening out from outside aquatics?
So on a personal level, I love it, right? I love a good challenge. I love being able to step outside of my comfort zone. And the first thing I did, was step outside of my comfort zone and take this job, 2 hours away from where I live. And I moved all the way up here. Mm-hmm. So I'm no stranger to trying to challenge myself. But coming up here and seeing all the things that Parks and Rec does for this community, it was mind-blowing. Mm-hmm. I mean, my whole life I've worked in aquatics, and that's all I've known, aquatics. But now it's like, okay, well, we're doing this for the public, and we're doing that for the public. I mean, we have a crochet class at mm-hmm. Tullahoma Parks and Rec in DW, and that kind of blew my mind. I was like, really, a crochet class? I didn't know.
Are you going to learn? Are you going to take it?
Oh, absolutely not. I don't have the patience for that. But no, in all seriousness, it's been mind-blowing to see how much Parks and Recreation actually does for the community. And not only that, I'm going to be completely honest when I say this, but personally, I thought that whenever I walked into Parks and Rec, outside of the aquatic sector of it, I thought it was just a bunch of people like going and staring at trees all day. To be completely
no, that's what I do. No.
I know that's what you do, but no, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, I thought Parks and Rec was just like tree lover, so to speak. Mm-hmm. I really had no idea what Parks and Rec necessarily was before I stepped into it, and it has opened my mind. And I'm wanting to create some programs. I actually have mm-hmm. one coming up in January that me and Jeff kind of working out together. Mm-hmm. It's going to be kind of like a fitness inspired one. So if anybody's interested in a fitness program,
this will air by January. We'll have it out, and by the time. Yeah, it's usually about a week or so before I'll get it out. So
so in January, you're going to be seeing this at a perfect time then. Okay. Stop by DW and ask for, you can ask for me. You can just ask for a pamphlet. I'm sure that if we have a fitness class set up by then, it'll be in our pamphlet. So I definitely want to see some of you guys there.
Yeah. So in that vein, then what's some of the, if you can share them, what's some of the ideas that you have for the pool? What's your vision on some things to do and bring into the public realm?
So for the pool, I actually already had a program. I learned something with it. I learned a valuable lesson, which I'm not going to go too much into detail for, just because I want to save myself a little bit.
Oh, that's fine.
Anyways, we had a glow in the dark swim actually, and it was really cool. We turned off the lights in DW. It's kind of creepy mm-hmm. in there. It's kind of an old building. And from my point of view, it's an old building. Really. But so we go.
It was built the same year I was born. Just saying. It's an old building,
and it got remodeled pretty close to when I was born. So
there you go.
So, anyways, we walk in there and it's just pitch black. So we got lights in there. We had different kinds of LEDs and strobe lights and stuff, and we had lights for the pool. And everybody got wristbands that were like glow sticks. It was super, super cool. I want to kind of bridge off of that, maybe do something for the holidays. I mean, I'm gonna have to sit down and think of all the things that I can do with a pool, and then be like, okay, well, this is the next step, and mm-hmm. this is what we're going to do for the community next. If any of the listeners, they have any ideas that they want to see for it, they can definitely put it in the comments. I'll make sure that I come and watch it. I want to see myself on video.
Oh yeah, so. We'll make sure you get to see it.
So we'll have to see the comments, and we'll see what some of the listeners just think about maybe a pool program, see what they want.
Yeah.
Now, there is something that I want to bring back. I don't know mm-hmm. if it's necessarily bring back or just start, but I want to do U.S. Masters swim for adults. So I want to create an adult swim team. So I want to get the community engaged. I want to have a more or less competitive swim team with Tullahoma that isn't just for children, right? So just for our teens. I want to be able to get our younger adults active, and our really it's not going to be an age limit, but I want to get everybody in Tullahoma active. And if it's through USA Master, then boom, there we go.
Right. So you bring up a good point. You said this earlier. I was going to touch on it then, but you said you had to jump in, do your 300-yard swims and so on and so forth. I remember doing that as well. That's not easy. No. And when I used to give, I would do swim tests for the Boy Scouts when they would go to camp. I would do the early swim test. And I always used to tell them before they get in the pool, this is not a race. Pace yourself. Don't tire yourself out, because you got to do 100 yards. So you got to do 4 lengths. And by that, probably midway through the second link, a lot of them were just flailing and losing their breath. And so I would let them get out and we'd start over again. But that was a learning curve for them. So there's a big physical aspect in the lifeguard world. It's not just the maturity of having a CPR certification or basic first aid. there's a physical ability you have to be able to swim. So how do you encourage people to develop that who may not be that comfortable in the water right now? You got any thoughts for that?
So I think step one is going to DW and getting a membership. So get a
sales pitch right there.
Absolutely. So I'm going to hammer it home. But in all seriousness, I mean, really, come to DW, get in the indoor pool, and we have public lap swim. We have open family swim. Whatever it's going to take to get you there. I mean, I'm sure that we have it. So come in the morning, come after you get off of work. I mean, during swim season, you know, we have some time set aside for the swim club and the swim team of Tullahoma. But after that, we have public lap swim from 7 to 8 o'clock. Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's people there, sometimes there's not. So, you know, if you're a little bit less social than somebody, then come out at 7 to 8, start swimming laps. If you're a social butterfly, come in the morning because that's when everybody else comes.
Yeah, that's just popular time.
Yeah, so. Yeah. So we also have public lap swim still on Saturday. We do have it on Sunday as well. So you guys can come swim laps. And I think that's the first step. The second step, in all seriousness, is kind of balancing your diet out. So that's not going off the wall and like cutting carbs or whatever.
Right.
That's just picking an apple over some ice cream, right? So for an example.
No vanilla.
No vanilla. No, absolutely not. No maple syrup
no
and
maple
bacon.
syrup and bacon.
But yeah, I mean, what you put into your body is what you're going to get out of your body.
Right.
So if you're putting in ice cream, I mean, I don't think I could go fill my body up with ice cream and go swim 300 laps right now. You know, maybe drink some water, have a little like ham sandwich or something like that. I get in the water, swim 300 laps like it's a breeze. But that, I didn't always start out like that. Like I said, the first time I took it, I thought I was Michael Phelps. I'm glad that the instructor didn't see it, but I'm pretty sure at one point I was floating on my back.
Yeah.
Which is not allowed, by the way. So if you're going to be a lifeguard, don't let me catch you in doing that. Make sure you swim your 300 laps the right way, or 300 laps, 300 yards. But it just comes down to pacing yourself, eating correctly, and practice in the first place. If you don't know how to swim and you come out there, you're not going to be able to swim 300 laps. I mean, 300 yards.
Right. Shoot, as good of a swimmer as I am, I couldn't do 300 laps either.
I don't know why I keep saying that. Oh my goodness. 300 laps.
It took me forever to learn the difference between a lap and a length.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I got them wrong all the time. So, so I'm going to brag for a second. So a few years ago, before I came up here to City Hall, when I was down there, one of the head guards at that time, we were doing the swim test. And there was a couple that needed to pass just the swimming part. They had done the classroom part. And so she had us come in and there was maybe about 5 or 6 of us. And so, here I am, the old guy, and I got these high schoolers there who are trying to finish theirs up. And I had to recertify. My certification was gone. So I had to go retrieve the brick, which at that time, if I remember correctly, I think you had to swim, I think it was 10 or 12 yards on the surface. The brick is 10 feet or 12 feet or something like that. So you had to swim out, dive down, pull the brick, swim back. So, of course, I'm getting teased mercilessly because I'm the old guy. And they're like, "You're really going to do this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I want my certification back." So I got in there, and it was my turn to go. And I think I went second. And when I was done, the head guard at that time said, "The only person that's done it faster than you is our other head guard."
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, "Yes, that's right, kids. Quit picking on me."
Oh my goodness. Every lifeguard class that I've been to, not to brag on myself, but I think I could do it.
Hey, I did it. You brag away.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I could swim laps around most of them. But, I think that's my ego talking.
But I think that's good though, because you lead by example. If you've got some of those impressionable minds at 16, 17, 18 years old, and they don't have that worldly experience, you're offering that physical example to say, "Hey, look, at least in my case, I can say I'm the old guy and I can do it. So I know all of you can do it because you guys are in way better shape than I am." I think leading by example is important. And I think that's true, not just in aquatic, but I mean, in any leadership position. And I know you're a lot younger than I am, but in a leadership position like you are, that's a great attitude to have, because I think when people see you, you're not asking them to do something you're not willing or able to do yourself.
I agree.
And I think that's a tenet of leadership that's lost in a younger audience sometimes. So I commend that. I think that's really good. So, all right. So what else you got planned for the pool? Indoor, outdoor?
So there
anything you can share. I know that you got some secret plans, but
there are a couple secret plans that I'm not able to share at the moment.
Yeah.
But just keep an eye on the outdoor pool.
Okay.
We're going to do some work on the outdoor pool.
Good,
hopefully.
good.
Certainly. So on the indoor pool, just working on getting it clean. If you guys haven't been in the indoor pool lately, we created the new guard station for all of the guards that are
I
not
saw
on the
it.
stand.
It wasn't finished yet, but I saw it. It looked good.
It's done now. You got to come check it out.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we cut the wall down. We put tables and chairs behind there. We prettied it up. We painted it. We have pressure cleaned in there. I mean, it looks like almost a brand new indoor pool in my opinion.
Very nice.
But yeah, so that's all I'm able to share at the moment.
Okay, that's all right.
But stay tuned, and I'm sure you guys will start seeing stuff as you drive by.
That's good. And I think one of the things you'll find as a residual effect of that is when the lifeguards start to see things like that change, they get excited too. Any chance you get to motivate them. So
It creates excitement. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not just another day at DW. It's this day
Right.
at DW.
Or
So,
they come in and say, "Oh, I got to do that today."
yeah.
That's good.
We got to paint today.
That's right. We got to do this today.
We got to do anything but lifeguard. No.
Yes, exactly. 'Cause that was another thing that I would occasionally get a public observance of. I don't call it a complaint. It was just they would say, "Well, the lifeguards just sit there all the time." When you're sitting there and you're actively watching the pool, they are working. It's not like you just stare at one point in the water. You have to scan the water constantly.
And kind of touching on that just a little bit, contrary to popular belief, a lot of people think that a more saves that a lifeguard has, the better the lifeguard is, right? So that's kind of like what everybody thinks. I think it's the opposite. I think that the less saves that a lifeguard has is a better lifeguard. Lifeguards aren't inherently there to save you from drowning. Now, they will if they have to, but the lifeguard's number one job is to prevent the drowning, right? So before you even get in the water, the lifeguard is going to know if you're a good swimmer or not, just based off of years of experience and whatnot. I definitely can. So you're going to get in the water and you're going to be watched. I mean, you're going to be swimming in front of a lifeguard. Of course, you're going to be watched, but they're going to tend to have a little bit of a lingering eye on our weaker swimmers.
Right.
And that's not something that we tell them to do. That's just something that comes by nature of being a lifeguard in my experience. But so it really just comes down to watching people. And like I was saying, like you were saying, actually, they just sit there all day. If they're sitting all there all day, then they're probably doing their job very well.
Right, exactly. So now in your role in the, we've covered the lifeguard stuff in spades, I think, but taking care of a pool is not just training lifeguards, and I know this because I have a pool at home too, the mechanical side and the things that you have to fix and monitor the chemicals and so on. To walk us through is that fun to you, or how did you learn how to do all of that?
So the short answer to that is it depends on what I'm working on, if it's fun or not. So if it's the filter,
That's fair.
No.
That's fair.
If it's like our chemical controller, that's easy as pie, right? But when it comes down to the stuff where I'm having to put elbow grease into it, it's fun sometimes. Most of the time, it's not.
Right.
But a lot of my experience came from Lake Winnie. And a lot of things broke just from the nature of everything being outside and being exposed to
and
the
chlorine
elements.
is a very corrosive substance anyway.
Absolutely.
So it's going to damage that plastic all over the place.
Absolutely. So I learned a lot by working at Lake Winnie. I learned how to take stuff apart and rebuild things, and there's a lot more to it that I'm not going to go into super detail on, just because you'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about, kind of thing.
Right.
But so that's where I learned it from. But I mean, overall, the chemical side and the mechanical side of the pool, it can be very fun if you know what you're doing. Troubleshooting is not very fun, especially when you don't know what's wrong. That's the whole point of troubleshooting. But it feels like you're just playing a guessing game.
Right.
So you're like, oh, well, I guess this is what's wrong. Let's go test this. And then it's like, oh, well, that's working
science,
just fine.
You test it. If it doesn't work, you move on to the next. You test that one.
It's like I have a hypothesis.
That's right. That's right. And it's just basically a continual test, one right after the other. So, all right. So outside of aquatics, DW's closed, pool's closed. What do you do for fun? What's Logan's hobbies?
So I think my number one hobby is driving my car around Tullahoma. So I have a nice car, in my opinion. It's relative to what you drive, I guess, if you think it was nice or not. But I like driving my car. That's my favorite thing. Outside of that, I love the gym. Any time after hours, most of the time, Tuesday through Sunday. I like to take Monday as a rest day just because it's my day off or whatever. I like to go work out. So I work out at one of the places in town. It's local. And I'm there for an hour, 2 hours. I spend a lot of my time off there. Other than that, I like to play video games.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you play?
So right now the craze has been a Battlefield game.
Yes, I've seen the commercials for it.
Yeah, I've been deep into that. Some sports games here and there, but I'm a big shooter kind of guy. That's what I go to.
Yeah, you got to have some downtime, when you're not saving people and pulling them out of the pool.
Exactly. The shooter games is kind of just a mindless thing. It's like, okay, well, it's muscle memory.
Yeah, yeah. And that'll also put you, I think you probably already know this, but that'll put you on a level with some of your guards too, because in their off time, that's the kind of stuff that kids like to do anyway. And so I think sometimes some older folks may look at that as, oh, well, that's a juvenile hobby. But at the same time, when you work with younger people, sometimes it's better to meet them where they are. And so you'll hear them this actually happened to me once, because I have a PlayStation. I like to goof around on it. But I had two guards that were talking one day about a game that they were playing. Well, just so happened I was also playing that game. And so when I said something to them about it, they looked at me like, you, the old guy? How did you know that?
You know what the X button is?
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm an 80s kid, so I grew up on Nintendo and all that kind of stuff. So
is that when they had black and white TVs?
It was.
And you to get your internet connection, you climbed up a dinosaur.
I'm close. That's close. I did have the two screws on the back of the TV with the UHF. So yes, I'm not far from the dinosaur. No, I'd actually started on an Atari 2600.
I don't know what that is.
Goes way back. It's one of the very first home game systems. But yeah, so I was that 80s kid. So yeah, Tron was my thing back then. So
I've watched the movie.
The new one or the old one?
The new one.
Okay, watch the old one too. It's a little different, but it's good.
Okay. It's
good. So what else you got for the city of Tullahoma?
It's been a pleasure moving up here. The sense of community here is very strong. We got Facebook groups that I've joined, and kind of seeing some of the activities that go on here and how helpful some of the people are. Whether it's a lost wallet, a lost dog. I see people advertising those all the time, and it's like, wow, this is a community that actually cares about each other.
Oh yeah.
In Chattanooga and where I come from, it's kind of like a dog eat dog world type of thing. But here, everybody's really close with each other, and everybody knows everybody. And I think that some people can take that for granted, and I think that's something that I really like to see, and it's something that has made my move up here a lot easier, just knowing that we have this community here, and I get to see the same people at DW most of the time in the mornings, and I get to talk to them and see how they are. It's just been a huge welcome party, so to speak, for me.
I found when I first got here, and I don't know if you've had this experience, but there was an older population that I was ingrained with in the very beginning when I got here, and they really took me in, really kind to me, brought me food at work, which, look at me, I'm a food guy. So, I mean, but my very first impression in Tullahoma, I think on my second day, a lady I didn't even know brought me a tray of homemade cookies. And I will say that tray of cookies didn't last more than a day. But the point was, it's a very kind community. I know we get some folks out there that aren't happy with us some days. I mean, I think when you work for the city government, that's always going to happen. But you'll find this if you haven't already. We try very hard to solve so many problems for people, and the community, at least in my case, has returned that in spades. So I know you being new to the position, you may not have had that experience yet, but you will. This community is really welcoming and really kind. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Have you had any trays of cookies show up yet for you?
Not yet. If that does happen, hopefully they make them with Splenda sugar.
Well, you heard him say he's on a diet, so if you're going to bring cookies, just bring them to me. Don't take them to Logan. Well, you can show them to him, just don't take them to him.
I made these for you, but I'm going to go ahead and take them back up to City Hall.
That's exactly right.
And I'll thank you for that, because if you leave them on my desk, I will eat them.
Well, all right. So we're going to, unless you have anything else to share with us, I think we're good. I appreciate you coming on the show today, and I appreciate all of you out there listening in. If you happen to run into Logan, either at DW or out in town, make sure you stop and say hello. Pretty friendly guy. Don't bring him cookies, though. Bring those to me, and we'll go ahead and sign off the show with the Bob Barker sign off. If you have pets out there, please help control the unwanted pet population. Spay and neuter those pets, and adopt when you can. Logan, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time, Tullahoma, on the Tullahoma at Work podcast.